Yeah, and even that break off, there's a bit of sort of resignation about that kind of shot. Very poor, he caught the red very thick. And, you know, it's tough out there. You know, you're 5-0 down. He would have prepared so hard for this event, and, you know, drawing Ronnie O'Sullivan obviously is definitely the toughest draw. Yeah, you know, it's very frustrating as a player when you come to this event, and, you know, I wouldn't say that Marco hasn't performed, because he just, you know, he really just hasn't had much of a chance. And, you know, Ronnie's, you know, one of the few players who can do this to you.
Six. Seven.
And one of the most impressive things about today with Ronnie is that he just seemed to get the pace of the table straight away. You know, a lot of other players that, you know, maybe takes them a frame or two to get used to everything, but Ronnie was just, you know, inch perfect position from the get-go. And yeah, just, you know, it's incredible to watch. And as a player myself, you have to admire it and try to learn from it as well. You know, I think it's pretty important to watch people like Ronnie O'Sullivan, John Higgins play. There's always things you're always learning all the time.
Well, you've got no choice now. You're working for Eurosport. You've got to watch it. You watch a lot, though, anyway, don't you, Neil?
Yeah, I do. I really enjoy watching snooker, even if I get knocked out of a tournament. Obviously, I'm disappointed, but I think that there's players to learn from, like Ronnie O'Sullivan, John Higgins, you know, even Mark Selby, players like that.
22.
There's always things that you can pick up, and, you know, I love going on YouTube
23.
and, you know, watching, you know, Stephen Hendry, Ronnie's, all the great battles over the years. And yeah, it's interesting to see, you know, how snooker, how far it's come along, you know, over the past 10 years. And, you know, where there was only a handful of players capable of playing world-class snooker, you know, 15, 20 years ago. There's probably 20 or 30 now, especially with all the Chinese players coming through as well. The tour's never been as healthy or as competitive as what it is.
No, we've had 13 centuries already in the Masters this year. We didn't have any the first 4 years, not a single one.
Yeah, obviously conditions have changed over the years. The cloth's more reactive than what it used to be. But you know, that's just technology in sport. Same with golf and many other sports. But at the same time, on these kind of cloths, you have to be a lot more accurate with your cueing as well. Any unwanted side on the cue ball, and the ball will spray off, and you can miss anything by a foot. Looks like he's just underscrewed that slightly.
44.
Yeah, you can't really bend that in the side. May attempt a double. It's only Reddy could leave, I think.
Thank you.
Oh, he's calling a foul on himself.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 44.
Just touched a red, I think.
54.
Well, every little helps from Marco Fu's perspective, I guess.
Yeah, Marco not too interested in the double, I don't think.
Just caught it with his hand.
bit unfortunate after missing the red that it's come back off the cushion and gone over the pocket. Yeah, that's another prime example of someone who's very cold on the table. Marco, one of the best positional players the game's ever seen. And he's underhit that by about 3 or 4 inches, so it's just about hanging on.
Well, good pot, but he's caught the yellow. Yeah, table time for Fu, 23% playing time. I'm surprised, honestly, it's that much.
Marco Fu, 8.
So Marco's clearly decided that, well, yeah, I'm going to go down all guns blazing, and yeah, he's going to be super aggressive, like what I said he may do at 4-0. 5-0, his mind's made up now. There's nothing really else he can do. He's just got to go for his shots. Hope Ronnie can maybe just miss a couple through a lack of concentration, and sort of see what happens. Just basically take each shot as it comes.
Looking at O'Sullivan's record in this tournament, he's only ever lost first round 4 times in 23 previous appearances, so it just underlines it's a tournament where it just seems to keep coming good. One table, every match like a final, big crowd. It's a local event for him. No numpties, I think it's fair to say, at the Masters. You can't even get in the tournament, Neil, and you're in the top 16.
No, well, apparently I'm a clown now, aren't I?
Is that right?
I think Ronnie having a bit of fun with some punters on Twitter, sort of referring to as, you know, unless you're John Higgins or Selby, the rest of us are all clowns. But Ronnie had a good laugh about that. That's all right. I get along with him very well, and you know, we just have a laugh. It's quite funny. But yeah, no, definitely this event, you know, you can put in as much practice as you want. There's no restrictions. Usually when we go to events with 128 players, you're only restricted to 20 minutes practice, and you can only book that twice a day, which is kind of ridiculous in itself. But you come to a tournament like this, you can play for 2 or 3 hours if you want to. I think Marco yesterday probably practiced for about 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, it's you know, every match is sold out. The one table set up. It's you know, one of the most special events on the calendar for sure. Yeah, and probably part of Marco will be hoping Ronnie clears up here, because you know, it's kind of funny. I think when Rob Milkins played Ronnie here, you know, Ronnie was playing really well and the crowd were really on top, and you know, I think Rob said that when Ronnie was in the balls, he didn't want to come back to the table. He didn't want to sort of like face that crowd again, that if he made any kind of mistake, they'd all be all over him. So it can't. He's the only player in the game now where there is still that huge intimidation factor, like when I played Jimmy White at the Conference Centre on my debut at the Masters. You know, Ronnie still is the player who attracts the most fans, and whenever you play him, you know that there's going to be 99% of the crowd against you.
Well, it's not been a long match. An hour and 20 minutes. O'Sullivan in, 37 in front, looking to kill it off now.
6.
What success, standing at 97%. Every stat is going to favour him, obviously.
13.
Just the start he made, though. Came out, made that century in the first frame just to really lay down a marker, and Fu already was up against it, just drawing him, but just seeing how well
14.
he started, just put the pressure on from the off.
Yeah, and that's what he does. He puts you under the pump straight away, and he's, you know, not only is he's the best player who's ever played the game, but he's also the greatest front runner as well. You know, when he builds up a head of steam, he's very hard to pull back. And just having a look, out of the 181 balls he's attempted, he's knocked in 176 of them, and 4 of the ones he's missed have been irrelevant because the frame has already won. So he's only missed 1 ball out of 182
21.
attempts, which is, yeah, it's just incredible snooker, really.
Marco Fu contemplating the end. Sometimes you just got to sit
22.
and admire, and he spent a lot of time in that chair today doing just that.
Yeah, and that can happen, you know. Marco,
29.
he'll obviously be disappointed, but, you know, he'll just hold his hands up and say he was just outplayed today by,
30.
you know, one of the greatest players, well, actually one of the greatest sportsmen Britain's ever seen, so... I mean, there's
37.
certainly probably an argument to say he's the greatest ever. You know, he's definitely up there with the, you know, what
38.
Federer's doing in tennis right now. I can't, you know, Tiger Woods with golf perhaps, but Ronnie's longevity is the key. He just, you know, how long he's playing for and how long he's competing and winning all the best tournaments.
45.
Yeah, and he's clearly still got hunger for more.
46.
He's in great shape coming into this tournament. He's proved it here in the first match. He's made 3 centuries. Just plays superbly.
53.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan off and running here at the Masters as he looks for his 8th title at the weekend, and if he carries on like this, you can certainly see it happening. Marco Fu did not get a look in early on. O'Sullivan 3 centuries before the interval, and he's completed the whitewash. He's into the quarter-finals with a stunning performance here this afternoon. Ronnie has rocked the palace. He's beaten Marco